you upload it, they will come.
Hey, what's up, guys? Your boy Rodney383, Anime Real Talk TV, and today got my boy Deadpoolzilla.
Hey guys.
Now, let's get on with it. Game of Thrones, Episode 4, The Greatness. Now, let's start off with Brienne and Jaime. And, they're like Jaime just got his hand chopped off and it's hanging around his neck. Which is like, holy shit. Like they just humiliated him even further, as if in those times they could like reattach it or whatever the case. Just a constant reminder that he's basically a cripple. Cripples and bastards, as Tyrion would say. But I mean, I found it a little bit interesting that Brienne tried to kind of get him to pick himself up by the bootstraps or whatever the case. I understood the reasoning why, but it was like she was returning the favor. What do you think about it?
I really like this. It was interesting to see Jaime just broken, because we've never seen him like that. And
yes,
that scene when he gets thrown in the dirt and drinking horse piss, man, he is in the belly of the beast, more or less. And it was so interesting to see Brienne be the one to pick him out of that slump.
You can see the humanity in a person when they get brought down to that level. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Gold Cloaks, Mr. Lion walking around, he on top of the world, can't nobody tell him shit. And he get down to a level where as though, oh, this is how that shit feel. Oh, okay. But for a second you kind of feel sorry for him for a second, but then just think about the stuff that he's done in the past. That's like, okay, well, technically you getting exactly what you deserve. So it is what it is. I did think like the way they was like continuously fucking with him was like excessive, but in the context of like all the stuff he's done and everything, I'm like, well, they could have been doing a lot more to you, to be honest.
You could be Theon right now.
Yes, exactly. Oh, we're gonna get there. But an excellent scene nonetheless. His face in the mud, just thick ass, like 8-inch mud. Like, it was just, it was real. It was getting real in there. But well, let's move on to Lord Varys, and I was happy that we got a lot more of him this episode, because all throughout this season he hasn't really been in, except that council meeting on last episode.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that how he told the story of how he got his balls chopped off. You know what I'm saying, to Tyrion. I thought that that was interesting, and it also showed that unlike some other people who really don't believe in it, he saw magic or whatever the case at a young age, so and it stayed with him. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was interesting, of the story of how Varys told it, and he was pretty much telling his entire life story to Tyrion. And it's kind of like when he's opening that box. I had that scene from the movie Seven going on in my head, like, what's in the box?
What's in the box? But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then when we finally open it, when he's talking about this sorcerer, he opens it up. There it is, the guy who cut him. And I don't want to know what Varys does to him later on, because it ain't going to be pretty.
Before he revealed what was in the box, his whole conversation was about patience and how you have, bide your time, pick your moves, and eventually things will come to him. And he's talking about some shit that happened when he was like a boy, when he was fairly young.
Yeah.
So, decades later, he actually comes up and finds this guy. It shows his character that how deeply committed you gotta be to hold that shit in, and like to really hold on to it and follow through with that, like years and years later. So it shows just, not only was he handling his personal revenge endeavors that he was handling, he also keeping his eye on everything else. And that just show he's like a multitask spy agent. Your boy, he got some ingenuity.
This spider's venom spreads slowly.
Let's move on to Varys and Raz. Now, the double agent plot thickens. Because Raz is giving him some nice intel. But first, let's talk about like the conversation that they had about Podrick and the women. Essentially, they said he was that divine in bed. He was that like godlike, that they was like, boom, you can have that for free. And I was like, huh? What's going on here? And they couldn't even describe it. So it's like it got to be something like, I mean, we could probably speculate on what it was, but I mean, if it was, I know, I mean, I ain't, we know what we thinking. Like he's well endowed, you know what I'm saying? But if it was just that, they would have said it, right? So it got to be something else. Your boy, he be putting it down. I mean, he be making like he just melt the panties right off. Well, they don't wear panties, but the garments. He melts the garments off of these hoes, like straight up. And I was like, yo, Podrick, go in, go in,
Literally.
man, yeah, go balls deep. But I just thought that was funny. Littlefinger, he's still plotting his revenge against Littlefinger, which I thought is very interesting. And Lord Varys, he goes to talk to I'm gonna just call her Grandmother Tyrell. I don't know her. I forget her name. You guys can correct us down below. But essentially, just to get straight to the point, basically Littlefinger eventually plans on taking Sansa to be his queen or whatever the case. They want to stop that. Otherwise, why would he care as much? But he wants to jam Littlefinger up.
Yeah.
So,
And it was interesting, like, when Varys said, I had a lot of, respect and I admired Ned, so I'm trying to do this in his memory.
Let me just say that I continue to love her character. I swear. Because she don't be about the bullshit. Like, I'm telling you. Like, the little girl brought her a little flower pot that she made, and she shitted on the little girl. I mean, it was very enlightening. And then the way she handled Lord Varys was like, holy shit, you was not fucking around.
Yeah. Something about that reminds me of my grandmother.
Yeah. And the way she stood toe to toe with Cersei was like, holy buttercakes. I mean, she is unwavering and just tells it like it is. Like, I really like her character, man. I don't. She had me laughing once again in here. I don't know. I love her character, so we just throw that out there. Let's move on to the Night's Watch, and Lord Mormont and Craster are talking. And a lot of the time when Lord Mormont talks to Craster, the sentiment from Craster is like, well, fuck all of y'all, pretty much. I mean, it always comes down to fuck you guys. I can't wait till y'all get out. But not this time. Not this time. You wanna go ahead and on that thing?
Yeah. Oh man, the Night's Watch have pretty much had it with Craster, man. I knew that from the last episode, something big gonna happen next episode. Yeah, I was right. And what happens in the little powder keg that sets it off is so tiny, of just the shit hits the fan and the shit flies everywhere. And it's a bloodbath, seriously. Craster gets taken out, the Lord Commander gets taken out. I mean, like, I wasn't expecting that either. And it's so weird too, Rodney. It's so weird too, because you have this weird parallel of the wildlings, who are usually, this disconnected, unorganized group, and they're being organized and they're very dependent on one another, where you have the Night's Watch, where they're supposed to be like a brotherhood, and here they are killing each other.
Exactly, because you had two separate groups. One that was loyal to Mormont and was gonna steadfast and do whatever he say, because that's how they get down. And then you had the contention of rebellion or mutiny, so to speak, that was like, we're gonna get ours. And your boy that stabbed Mormont, I mean, come on, he was sneaky from Jump Street. You know what I'm saying? He was sneaky from Jump. And I expected something sneaky like that to come out of him. I thought that he was gonna go after Sam first, but I mean, just the way he did it was crazy. And actually, Lord Mormont actually grabs him, yokes his ass up, and had him up against the wall. And he's losing a lot of blood and stuff. And then your boy proceeds to just repeatedly stab him, like repeatedly. I was like, holy shit! It's almost as if they got like some scarecrow fear toxin in them or something that's just making them batshit crazy. It's weird. I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, it just, it was weird because it isn't any real, I guess there is a reason, but why would they not calm down, and I don't know. I think that the killing of the commander was what set everybody
Yeah.
off.
I guess it goes back to what Jorn said about there's a beast in every man, and when you put a sword to him, that beast's gonna come out.
Exactly, man. It was chaotic, and Sam took his little opportunity to run off with the chick.
And I got a feeling it's just maybe this is just what I think is that I think maybe Sam and that girl are gonna run into John.
Yeah, I mean we'll see what's going on. No ghost this episode, so he can't be far off. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually meet up with him. But clearly they basically called Craster out on bullshit. You know, called him out on what he was doing with the babies, fucking his daughters and stuff like that. And he sits up there and acts like he's a king, and he just eating up their food and everything like that. Wish if I had a couple dozen, random dudes up in my place, hell yeah, you can be scrubbing some shit and you gonna be earning your keep. But if he wasn't such a dick, I don't think it would be a problem. And you know what I'm saying? He's just just an evil person. So
He's a dead evil person now, Rodney.
exactly. I love, man, when Homeboy stabbed him, I was like, yes. Like I love seeing that motherfucker get a knife through the throat, like up through the mouth, through the brain. Like I was like, yes. Like that was gratifying because I couldn't wait for somebody to kill him. Let's move on to Joffrey and Marjorie. Now, it's very interesting because Joffrey continues to show her things that are kind of disturbing, or not even disturbing, but why would somebody find pleasure in looking at these things, or have an interest in looking at tombs of dead people and describing certain horrific things, unless you have an active interest and you're very without eating people, Hannibal Lecter like. You're really, sadistic on the inside, and by kind of letting him show her these things, she is, kind of getting on his good side, which she was always on the good side, but she's more easily able to manipulate him into what she wants to do. And she also kind of gives him a confidence in a way that he didn't have just from being king, because up until this point he was scared of the people. Like he was scared of going outside to the people. And even his reluctance when they went out there was like, oh, okay, well, he had a reluctant little nature about him, but she kind of changed that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole lot of things going on behind the scenes, man. What do you think?
When I know Marjorie's playing Joffrey like a violin, man. She is playing him like that, and I love that scene. I love that scene when Joffrey's mom is trying to call Joffrey back into the tombs, and he's just waving. He's not listening to her, and she just has this look of, oh, I have lost control.
Yeah, I mean, she been lost control, but at that moment, he was feeling himself. He was like, what? They do love me. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, even if you can spin it however you want to spin it, you can have people regurgitate whatever bullshit that you want them to fill your ego and make them seem like you're more heroic than what you are, but in your heart, you ran away. You didn't really do anything to contribute to the battle that happened. So in your heart, you're a coward. To see the people like kind of yelling his name and stuff, that really boosted his confidence up. Now this could set him up later for something that probably happens later to his character, but for now he's feeling himself a little bit. He's gassed up a little bit. So we'll see where that goes. Also, Marjorie talks to Sansa, and just to get to the point, she basically proposes that she marry Loras, and then they will be sisters, so to speak. Now, this goes back to the interest that the Tyrells have taken in her to, kind of protect her from Joffrey's claws or clutches or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about that? Because that was alluded to, or Loras coming up to her, like, had the little Google eyes and shit. So I was like, okay, well, that might happen later on. So, what do you think about that?
I liked it. It's just showing that that the Tyrells really do have, like, it looks like from this point until we find out, like, maybe, I don't know if this is going to be through the entire season, but the Tyrells definitely have a hold over the Lannisters, and this shows that, yeah, they've played their way, and it looks like they're going to save Sansa from all this, but this is Game of Thrones. Nothing ever goes right.
Could it be that the Tyrells, by far, are better manipulating than anyone? Like, they do it with such ease and gracefulness without a big army backing them up and stuff like that. It's like they're the Vulcans of it. It's like their logic is just irrefutable. Like, once you listen to it, it's like, yeah, I'm down. I'm going in. Logic, you know. So I don't know. I just, the way they handle everything is awesome. Whereas you would be a little skeptical or a little apprehensive, and not even in your own realm, in somebody else's company, in their castle, they're like just going in. They moved in for a couple days and they already going in and out of the refrigerator. Which I hate. You know what I'm saying? Which I hate. Please, if you're not family, please don't go in and out my refrigerator. I don't like that. Please. And they just, at their leisure, so they're really just making it theirs. I mean, it's ridiculous. But awesome and great. And man, Grandma Tyrell and Marjorie, tag team duo. Tag team.
And it is so nice to see someone come along and knock the Lannisters off that pedestal.
Yes, I really do like that, because you can see that, more and more Cersei is just losing every little ounce of shred of power and influence that she possibly ever had in her life. And it's very interesting to see how she reacts to being shut down by Joffrey, to being even one-upped in a way by Marjorie in certain situations. So I'm very interested to see what she's gonna do later on. Now, let's move on to Tywin and Cersei. Now, their little conversation was interesting. You want to go to that?
I love that scene. It was just them talking, and Cersei's just giving crap to Tywin, saying, just because I'm not your son, I'm your daughter, and is it because, I've strived just to get your attention just as much as Jaime did, and I deserve it as much as you. And Tywin just says, look, it's not that you're a woman, it's just that you're not as clever as you think you are.
Exactly. I thought that was like, gut punch right there. And basically told her she was a shitty mother. Like, basically, I mean, to put it in perspective, you let Joffrey do whatever he want to do, blah, blah, blah. But it also seemed that she said something to the effect of, well, perhaps you should not let him do what he want to do, or something to that effect. And he was like, yeah, I got a plan for that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see what he's going to do with Joffrey. A lot of things they know happen, like it's up in the air with certain people. It's even rumors that Cersei and Jaime slept together and stuff like that. Now, I don't understand how Ned Stark just came in and swooped in and like found that out with the quickness, and the king or Tywin isn't at least a little bit curious. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he already knows and he actually like sees why they did it and accepts it, because the Targaryens used to do it. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the blood pure and keeping the bloodline pure and this, that, and the other. I wouldn't be surprised if he already knew that that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? It don't take a genius to know that a kid by Robert isn't gonna have blonde hair. I mean, come on, let's keep it 100. Like, it don't take a genius, and I refuse to believe that Tywin isn't smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah, and that is a good point. Maybe Tywin did know about Cersei and Jaime. That's a good point. I didn't think of it about that.
She basically seems to strive to do things that any man in her position would do as well. You know what I'm saying? So, if you take her actions to a large degree and apply them to a male, like, Tywin would be like, yeah, you the best. But when she do it, it's like, it is what it is. So I see what she was saying, but at the end of the day, I don't care. So, yeah. Um, let's move on to Theon. Now, now your boy Theon. If you remember last episode, he got free. He was a free man. You know what I'm saying? And he was he was pretty giddy. He was pumped. He was feeling himself. He was like, yeah. Now what's interesting is the conversation that they have, him and the guy who freed him, was interesting because you see that he does have remorse, and kind of got a little remorse. He understands the consequences of his actions. Let's go to the twist, as the M Night Shyamalan would say. What a twist! You wanna go in on that?
After Theon had this huge realization that I was a total idiot, that realization came a bit too late because he ends up right where he came from, back in prison. That
man. Go ahead, bro.
That that twist, that was so. It was again satisfying because again I hate Theon to hell and back. That's how much I hate this character. But just that twist, and then just finding out, that dude was just screwing with him the whole time, and it's back to square one for him.
That was diabolically interesting. It seemed to be just a plan to fuck with him, right?
More or less.
So are all those people dead? You know what I'm saying? Are they not dead?
It's kind of hard to fake an arrow through the face, Rodney.
Yes, it kind of is. It kind of is. But all of that just to fuck with him? Holy buttercakes. I mean, I was like, man, that was just diabolical, man. That's like having somebody trapped in a nightmare, pretty much. That was a great reveal right there.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to Arya and company, in company with everybody she's with. And now everybody is brought to a cave, and right away, all of the torches being lit and everything, it reminded me of the circle of when Stannis and Melisandre was, burning all those things for the Lord of Light and stuff like that. It reminded me of that. But I won't say, and I'm just gonna be real and say that it reminded me of that. You know what I'm saying? And when it came to light that they follow the Lord of Light, that whole company without banners was like, it was very interesting because it shows that ideology, that, them worshiping that God, so to speak. It stretched like a far region, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't just where Melisandre's at. Of course it wasn't, but I didn't expect it to be like, I don't know, I didn't expect it to be that way. But all of the torches was a sign that it was going to be that. What'd you think about that?
I was surprised by the that the Brotherhood follows the Lord of Light as well, and I'm kind of curious because Melisandre did say that she was going to look for others who worship the Lord of Light, so maybe her travel will bring her here?
Yeah, because I was waiting for her to come out, but she didn't. So I was like, okay, well, clearly they got little pockets of people doing their own thing, and like, why are they, the Brotherhood without banners under the Lord of Light, not following Stannis with her? You know what I'm saying? Little things like that. I just didn't understand that, but I'm sure that will, eventually, get around to in the story. Also, they put the Hound on trial, a trial by combat. Now, I thought that was interesting because we all know the Hound can tear some shit up. So why would you even want to do it?
Yeah, but when the leader of the Brotherhood, what's his name, Eric, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
When Eric said, when Arya says, accuses him of murder, and he says, you're gonna let the girl fight? And Eric says, yeah, she's the bravest of all, but it's going to be me you're going to fight. And did you see the Hound's face? He just had this look of, uh-oh.
Yeah. I say, the look on his face was, he wasn't talking back. He wasn't talking that bullshit. And he knows, like, he must know this guy from battle. I mean, of course he recognized the guy. He said his name first when the guy was introduced. So he knows who he is. But when it was said that he was going to be clashing swords with dude, he was like, holy shit. Like, yeah. And the fire around him doesn't make him any more, comfortable or whatever. Because when that sack came off, he was like, oh, shit. Oh, fire. So, I thought that was interesting. But, I don't know. man, it's just very interesting what's going on, man. And Arya being in the midst of that, you know, I just love everything about that. So we'll see how that swordplay goes on. I mean, I could probably already tell you how it's gonna go, but in the Game of Thrones, nobody knows. Now let's move on to the final scene of the episode. This is gonna be a long one, guys. Final scene, Danny. Now, okay, the deal's been set. I'm gonna go get my big boy. I'm gonna go get my red Drake. I mean, my biggest one. That boy big. That boy big. He's slightly bigger than the rest of them. That Dragonfire be pretty hot. So I'm gonna go get him. You know, bring the man his prize. Bring the man his payment. And everything seems to be going according to plan. However, go ahead and take over, man. Go ahead and let's get into this.
However, what happens next is that pretty much the slave trader is trying to get the dragon, to under his will, and that's when Daenerys said, "Yeah, you can't. You can't make a dragon a slave." And that's when that's when the guy realizes, "You speak my language. That means you heard everything I said about you."
Exactly. I thought that was a great revelation. Even though you guys in the comments told us about that, or which I appreciate, it was still a great revelation. Even hearing Daenerys say what she said to him, I was like, okay, now because the look of fear on his face made it worthwhile.
And plus, I kind of expected that she would know his language too, or at least have a knowledge of it. And her first order of business: kill every slave master and free every slave. The slave, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who the slave that she gave the dragon to, he didn't get the dragon, but he got the dragon's fire.
Oh yeah, and let me just say that Dragonfire is magnificent. It is magnificent, and I like how when the dragon first came out of the little cage, or the little, thing that they was carrying it in at first, everybody looked up like, holy shit, a dragon. You know what I'm saying? Because, if you put yourself in the mindset of somebody, at that point, you like, shit, I only heard, legends of dragons. I ain't never seen a dragon. And you kind of got to look, and really take that in, that what you're seeing is a dragon. You know what I'm saying? And the way they looked up, the slave masters, because, the soldiers were just, looking straight ahead like they always do. I thought it was very interesting. A great diversion into what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And the way she basically got them to follow her just off loyalty, pretty much. I thought that was great. And when they, stamping the spears for her and stuff like that, I was like, man, she dropped the whip, man, I don't even need this shit. They gonna ride or die for me all day. And I got dragons flying, soaring quite majestically all around me. And the way Jorah looks at her, holy shit, this is what I was born to do, serve this woman. And I was like, man, she's in there. She's solidified now. Oh, it was great, man.
That Badass of the Week award goes to Daenerys.
Yes. Oh man, she was exquisite. So exquisite. And I can't wait till the dragons get bigger, because even though the dragon, they're a little small right now, but man, they blew some shit up. They scorched some shit.
And it makes me wonder, what kind of damage can they do with that fire when they're bigger?
One breath would just take down a whole castle, just flood it with fire.
Or just, scorch an entire landscape.
We may get to that point where your boy hopping on dragons' backs, and just going through, just blazing shit up. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be like Golden Axe back in the day. Flying on dragons, shooting fire. Man, epic. But man, anything else to add to this episode? Man, this was a great episode, I gotta say.
After 2 episodes of pretty much build up, a third one that really did more establishing, and we finally get to the 4th episode. This one, God, this was worth the wait, because everything was so great in here, and especially with Daenerys. I can now forgive everything that happened in season 2 with her, because everything with her was just uninteresting. I'm sorry, as much as I love Daenerys. But with this part, and if this is the Daenerys we're going to see through the rest of season 3, I'm all for it.
Even though, compared to some of the armies in Westeros, that ain't really a lot.
8,000's a good enough number.
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly how many. Like when they showed them all, then I got the scope of how many it was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's a good amount. oh, let's not forget you got 3 dragons. So let's just call it what it is. Yeah, we scorching shit. Yeah, very good. So, I mean, that's all we got for you guys. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this episode.